Henyard says she is endorsing a new board, but not announcing who they are just yet. Instead, promising to name them later this month. Henyard is under investigation by the...
Now she's teasing a big announcement that she claims will result in some of her opponents being arrested.
The hefty $50 entrance fee at the Dalton, Illinois, Mayor Tiffany Henyard's re-election party is generating a lot of conversation. This price point not only creates an air of exclusivity, but also prompts inquiries about the nature of political strategy and fundraising in light of the ongoing scandals surrounding her administration. Time in office has been turbulent, marked by claims of poor administration, voter suppression, and dubious appointments. These problems have caused a great deal of division in the community, and the high expense of the re-election event has generated discussion about its potential effects on campaign funding and the general condition of Dalton leadership. Critics contend that concerns over the misappropriation of taxpayer funds have been raised, and many citizens are doubting the mayor's financial accountability for these skeptics. Supporters' payment of such a high entrance fee is a show of desperation, particularly in light of accusations of financial malfeasance within her administration. The occasion seems less like a sincere attempt at a campaign and more like a strategy to, however, Henyard's tenor supporters present an opposing viewpoint, arguing that the entrance fee is a measure of her leadership strength and resiliency, and that her capacity to mobilize public and financial support demonstrates political savvy even under close scrutiny. This viewpoint implies that the mayor has the ability to successfully negotiate the choppy waters of local politics and still draw devoted supporters ready to contribute to her campaign. But the choice to charge such a high entrance fee raises serious questions regarding inclusivity. While it might inspire some voters, it runs the risk of alienating others, especially those who are experiencing financial difficulties. The difference given the local difficulties, Henyard's supporters and critics highlight more general concerns in Dalton about leadership access and the socioeconomic realities that many locals face, such as increasing criminal activity and unstable governance. For many people, the idea of spending $50 to back a controversial leader is heavy. Henyard has developed a reputation as this re-election party, with its hefty price tag, fits into that narrative as a demonstration of her self-proclaimed resilience and a test of her supporters' loyalty. The tenacious, polarizing figure frequently presents herself as the victim of political attacks and dismisses her detractors as driven by ambition or envy. How her base views this expensive event, whether as a community struggles with concerns of trust and governance, the consequences of this fundraising technique become especially more crucial, whether it is a strong act of definition or a tone-deaf gesture. Events like Henyard's re-election party, according to opponents, deepen divisions already present and produce a spectacle in an already divisive political environment. In the end, Hen's re-election campaign appears to be as much about securing her legacy as it is about regaining the public's trust, which has been ebbing. She frames her campaign around high-profile events. Concerns regarding her administration's record, including claims of backdoor dealings and poor departmental appointments, highlight the complex dynamics at play. Portrays Dalton as a leader who enjoys confrontation and spectacle, but locals should think about whether such strategies are actually in Dalton's best long-term interests. The re-election party raises more general issues regarding the amount of money citizens are prepared or able to devote to their leadership. While some consider the high admission price as a symbol of strength, others see it as the evening goes on and money is raised, it is evident that Henyard's leadership continues to dominate conversations in Dalton, leading many to wonder if this most recent action will strengthen her support or reveal her weaknesses in a community that is looking for answers. This is the continuation of an administration characterized by high-stakes decisions and unresolved controversies. For stability and unity.
For 2025, yet Tiffany Henyard has officially decided she wants to stay as mayor despite the cloud of controversy.
Her administration has been criticized for financial mismanagement, corruption, abuse of power, and accusations of using the local police. Tiffany Henyard's time as mayor of Dalton, a small town of about 20,000 people just south of Chicago, has unfolded like a high-stakes political drama since taking office in 2021. Using force to scare political rivals, Henyard has been accused by critics, including former allies, of a persistent pattern of misusing public funds and making unnecessary expenditures, even using town revenues for personal interests. This controversy has caused Dalton, which is already experiencing severe financial difficulties, to become unstable, casting serious doubt on Henyard's capacity to put her citizens' needs first, despite claims that she was allocating funds for personal ventures, and dubious people have had their annoyance increase due to financial transactions. They believe that her actions are not in accordance with their collective efforts and are causing the town to deteriorate. Many people and local officials wonder if she is truly working for Dalton's advancement or abusing her position for selfish ends. As dissatisfaction increases, some of Hen's former allies have expressed alarm about what they see as an administration that has exacerbated the town's issues rather than addressed its basic needs. Critics point to her dubious financial practices and perceived lack of transparency. Putting one's own goals ahead of public service, this attitude exacerbates local dissatisfaction as locals publicly dispute her leadership skills and her plans to run for re-election. Despite the mounting opposition, Henyard is adamant about continuing with her re-election campaign, which some regard as defiance. Others consider it to be audacious. Considering the growing criticism, many people have seen her recent announcement of a re-election launch party as an effort to demonstrate her unwavering confidence in the face of the challenges surrounding her term. But for many Dalton residents, this move comes across as tone-deaf and disconnected from the urgent issues facing the community, and public annoyance has increased as residents struggle with slow progress and a mounting sense of disregard from an administration that is thought to be more concerned with political showmanship than with pressing problems facing the town, which has seen a great deal of unrest during its rule. Many locals view her stay as a flashy move that has exacerbated the town's problems, instead of easing the accusations of she is a polarizing figure who has drawn both ardent supporters and ardent detractors into an increasingly bitter debate over her legacy due to her poor management and polarizing leadership. While supporters applaud her fortitude and resolve in navigating political unrest, detractors contend that her audacity is more about dismissiveness than courage because she seems to ignore the public's and her peers' criticisms and concerns. Her actions have created a divisive political environment that has forced Dalton to face challenging issues about leader accountability and governance. These conflicts are highlighted by her choice to run for re-election, which detractors see as a sign that the administration is unable to confront its flaws. Fans as proof of her unwavering determination to persevere in the face of hardship. The stakes of Henyard's re-election campaign are high, putting Dalton at a crossroads. The result might have a big impact on the town's destiny for years to come. Her persistent quest for leadership is a sign of stability and a confirmation of the she asserts that her re-election campaign is a crucial opportunity for critics to hold her responsible for what they see as her ineffective leadership, or else they run the risk of further entrenching the town in dysfunction and division as these conflicting narratives continue. Conflict. Residents of Dalton are left to consider the ramifications of Henyard tenure and a sense of insecurity. The choices made during her administration, turning the next election into a significant event in the town's history rather than merely a political struggle.
Board meeting because business has not gotten done at 2 previous meetings, so that's some progress there, but this meeting was not.
In Tiffany Henyard's words, Mayor Dalton, a little town of roughly 20,000 people just south of Chicago, was elected in 2021, and since then, the situation has developed like a high-stakes political drama with scandals and charges of intrigue that might rival any primetime program. There has been ongoing criticism of her leadership style, with the main complaints focusing on claims of financial mismanagement, corruption, abuse of power, and using the local police force to intimidate political opponents. Henyard's rivals and former allies accuse her of a persistent pattern of wasting public funds, making unnecessary expenditures, and diverting town revenues for personal gain. This scandal has further destabilized a town already facing serious financial difficulties, casting doubt on Hen's ability to put her own interests first. Due to accusations that she has used money for personal endeavors or engaged in questionable financial transactions, constituents and residents are becoming more and more irate with her actions, which they believe are out of step with their collective hardships and contributing to the town's decline. This has led both town officials and residents to wonder if she is actually trying to improve Dalton more. Critics point to her dubious financial practices and seeming lack of transparency, claiming that she has simply abused her position for personal gain and that her administration's self-serving agenda has been fueled by these actions, which they claim have made the town's problems worse rather than better. This feeling has struck a deep chord, and some of Hen's previous fans have joined the chorus of those who are worried about. They believe that the administration is putting personal goals ahead of public service and that this has only made local unhappiness worse. Expressed doubt about her leadership skills, especially as she gets ready to fight for re-election. Despite the mounting opposition, Henyard is unfazed and is continuing with her plans for a re-election campaign, which some see as a sign of defiance. While some people observe, in the face of growing criticism as boldness, many people have interpreted her recent announcement of a re-election launch party as an attempt to demonstrate her unwavering confidence in overcoming the difficulties her administration has faced. But to many Dalton residents, this move comes across as tone-deaf and disconnected from the pressing problems facing the community, where residents are dealing with slow progress and growing feelings of neglect. Dalton has had severe unrest during Henyard's leadership, and many residents refer to him as a flash show that has made the town's problems worse rather than better. This is because the administration is thought to be more concerned with political showmanship than with solving urgent issues. Due to allegations of bad administration and divisive leadership, she has become a divisive figure who draws both AR admirers and fierce detractors into an increasingly bitter dispute over her legacy. Although her admirers praise her perseverance and determination in navigating political turmoil, her adversaries contend that her audacity is more a sign of contempt than bravery because she appears to disregard criticism and worries expressed by the public and her peers. The political climate created by Hen's conduct is divisive and compels Dalton to face challenging issues regarding the course of his administration and the responsibility of his. Moreover, her decision to run for re-election further highlights these conflicts, with some seeing it as an indication that her administration is unwilling to face its shortcomings, while some view it as evidence of her unwavering will to achieve in spite of hardship. The conclusion of the Henyard re-election campaign might have a major impact on the town's destiny for years to come, putting Dalton at a crucial crossroads for her supporters. The re-election bid is a crucial opportunity for her detractors to hold her accountable for what they see as her failed leadership or risk further entrenching the town in dysfunction and division. Residents of Dalton are left to deal with the consequences of Hen's tenure and the decisions made during her tenure. On the other hand, her continued pursuit of leadership represents an opportunity for stability and a reaffirmation of the bold vision she claims to champion. These opposing narratives in administration collide. Many people are uneasy about the way their town is taking. The question is whether or not voters will find Henyard's self-assurance in the face of growing criticism appealing or if it would exacerbate already existing complaints. The controversy surrounding her political career has undoubtedly brought attention to Dalton's troubles, pushing locals to face the truth of their leadership and the pressing need for change. When the political climate changes, Dalton's citizens are at a turning point in their lives, balancing their aspirations for the future of their community against the consequences of their mayor's actions.
First time in many weeks, Dalton trustees and Mayor Tiffany Henyard held a public meeting together.
In spite of the mounting scandals, Tiffany Henyard is determined to run for re-election. In a contentious mood, she suggested a wage ordinance that would reduce the pay of her prospective successor in the event that she loses, casting doubt on her intentions and dedication to the community. To make matters worse, a federal investigation into her financial practices was launched earlier. The investigation reportedly looks into allegations of financial misconduct, including claims that Henyard has used taxpayer funds for personal expenses. If the allegations are true, the scrutiny also looks at financial records from Dalton and nearby Thornton Township, where she also works as a supervisor. This year, authorities issued subpoenas to obtain information. It's possible that thousands of dollars may be spent on expensive hotels, meals, and Amazon shopping. While denying any wrongdoing, Henyard has kept a very steady but cautious posture towards the probe. In a recent Facebook Live broadcast, she addressed some of the claims but did not divulge too much information. Instead of offering verifiable proof to clear her name, she began an almost 90-minute tirade in which she blamed her opponents for the town's issues. The technique of offering to spill the tea later would not be well received by the adults who serve as trustees and citizens, many of whom are growing more and more dissatisfied with the current situation and demanding change. A member of the cleaning crew, Chasen House. During public meetings, a resident who is running against her has been outspoken about the need for accountability and transparency. One resident even asked, "This is an embarrassment to Dalton. Why won't you step down?" It's a reasonable question, but Henyard seems determined to hold onto her position. In her attempt to do so, she has used audacious tactics, including threatening to have. She said she would file charges against multiple people during a Facebook Live session after her political opponents were arrested, but she did not specify the offenses. This move raises questions, especially since she is presently facing an eviction lawsuit for unpaid rent. Henyard and her partner Kamal Woods have not made any payments, according to a recent Facebook post by her landlady Jinga. Rent has been due since August, and thousands of dollars are owed. Hen's friend is currently in a legal battle with Hall, unable to serve eviction papers because of Hen's avoidance, given the ongoing federal investigation into her spending and her growing financial problems. According to reports, they have even changed the locks on the property to prevent H from entering Henyard once. Someone trying to take charge of a community as she runs for office, the combination of her alleged financial misconduct, threats against opponents, and personal legal issues creates a concerning image. As residents demand more accountability and change, the stakes have never been higher for Henyard as she negotiates this turbulent environment.
Showed up here to see her tenant in person after she says Henyard has been dodging both her and rent payments.
Allegations of financial wrongdoing, misappropriation of public funds, and dubious leadership have plagued Tiffany Henyard's time as mayor of Dalton, making her re-election campaign a hot topic of discussion and controversy. Claims of lavish credit card abuse at the village include a startling $443,000 Amazon shopping spree, thousands of dollars spent on fine meals, entertainment, and travel, among other things. Robert Collins, the former Dalton police chief who was later fired by Henyard, claimed that she racked up police officers as a personal security detail after a protest following a shooting in 2021. These alleged missteps have further fueled skepticism about her priorities as residents struggle with the disconnect between their financial struggles and her apparent disregard for fiscal responsibility. More than $1 million in overtime compensation for her bodyguards. Collins' allegations that these policemen were frequently tasked with running personal errands for the mayor, like picking up her daughter from school or going shopping with her, are more concerning. These claims point to a concerning trend of exploiting public funds for private gain, which exacerbates citizens' annoyance with an administration that doesn't seem to care about their issues. Critics of Henyard's contend that these practices represent a larger problem of unbridled power and a decline in moral leadership. Collins also claimed that Henyard gave him instructions to harass particular people, which intensified charges of power abuse and the use of law enforcement for personal gain. These allegations further erode public confidence in her administration by presenting an unsettling image of a leadership style marked by force, intimidation, and a lack of transparency. The $50 admission fee for her re-election party has drawn more criticism as locals wonder whether such a daring fundraising move is appropriate given Dalton's financial struggles and the accusations against her administration. Critics view the campaign as a defiant stance in the face of mounting evidence of misconduct. These concerns have been raised about Henyard's motivations, with some seeing it as a desperate attempt to retain power amid growing opposition. Her admirers portray it as evidence of her tenacity and resolve to put the controversy behind her. Hen's unreserved attitude to her campaign indicates that she still believes she can withstand criticism, but not everyone shares this belief in a community that is becoming more and more split over her leadership. In light of growing disenchantment with local government, the re-election campaign represents a decision between supporting the status quo and advocating for a new beginning. Leadership critics claim that her alleged misuse of public funds and exploitation of law enforcement for personal gain have damaged Doughton's reputation and weakened its already precarious financial standing. They also question whether she truly believes she is the best person to lead the community or not. The use of village resources has become a focal point in the ongoing debate about her administration, raising broader concerns about leadership accountability and ethical decision-making. Her supporters continue to defend her as a strong, decisive leader in the face of unfair scrutiny from political adversaries who framed the allegations as part of a larger effort to discredit her tenure. However, the optics of her actions, particularly the overtime expenses for her security detail and the alleged targeting of specific individuals, have only fueled suspicions and increased suspicions. Her re-election campaign is a calculated attempt to avoid potential legal or political fallout. The man's responsibility critics also point out how her campaign's depiction of success contrasts with the town's actual state of financial instability and unhappiness. Some locals are furious over what they perceive to be an ambitious fundraising tactic that disregards the hardships of common people, and the $50 admittance fee for her re-election party has garnered harsh criticism. This charge, combined with persistent claims of extravagant expenditure, strengthens the idea that Henyard is unaware of the issues her constituents are facing, while her assurance stays unfazed. The story of her re-election campaign highlights the widening divide between her administration and the people she represents. During a period of severe hardship, many citizens are left questioning if they can rely on their leader to put their needs ahead of their own interests. I appreciate you watching. Until we meet again, thanks for watching Visual Vortex.